Hello and welcome to Rolling with Two. I'm Will, and with me as always is the one who monkeys around,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a two-player perspective and accessibility for Monkey Palace. Now, if you're curious about our opinion, check out our other video, Rolling with Reviews, Monkey Palace. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. Monkey Palace is a jungle-themed game of light strategy that incorporates both collaborative and competitive elements. Players must strategically work together to construct Monkey Palace out of Lego pieces while competing for the highest brick income and points. After the supply of pieces is exhausted and the final round ends, whoever has the most points wins. All right, Will, so how does the game change for two players?
Okay, there is no bot, but there is banana points. Otherwise, there's no changes. No changes.
It setup and everything is the same no matter the player count.
I think the turn order, you might start with different number of starting build pieces.
Oh, that's true.
But that's about it.
There are 4-player mats, and each player mat on the back side, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you only use the numbers that you have. So you're playing a 3-player game, you use 1, 2, and 3, and you put them around the table, and you look at the back side, and that tells you your starting income or your starting pieces that you start with, and they are different between the mats.
Yeah, and because you can't choose player color from the mat, this was like one of the few times I could actually play as the blue player.
Yeah, because he was first, and the number 1 is a blue minifigure on there. Now, it doesn't matter because the player color doesn't matter because it's just printed on your mat. It's really the player order that matters. Now, once you have your setup, then everything's the same.
Yes, because you turn your mat over, I mean, you won't even see the player count.
It's just you need the player orders to know when to end the game.
Yes.
Okay, so issues at a 2-player count is it might kind of overstay its welcome. Because you play until you run out of pieces. At 2 players, that means each person is putting more pieces on the board, taking more turns, and that just may feel like it's too long of a game.
Yeah, it's a very abstract game of building, and from turn to turn, you will have building challenges to overcome to try to figure out the most points, but it's not the hardest puzzle to solve, and therefore, turn to turn, you're not going to have a wide range of experience in how you play.
Yeah.
So that can lead to, well, now I have just so many of these turns that I'm done partway through the game.
Right. Now, some people might like that if this is, your kind of game, but I think in general, it's just not satisfying enough. Like there's other games where, at 2 players, each person's taking a whole lot more turns than at higher player counts. That's great. You just don't get that feeling here.
Yeah, which is odd because you do have, you do build up points that you can then spend to buy cards, and cards will give you points for scoring at the end of the game, as well as the potential for immediate building components that'll go into your inventory. And then they can possibly be flipped over and give you reoccurring building components.
Right.
So there is a lot of mechanism there that is pretty interesting, but it all happens like not on the active part of your turn.
Right.
So that's...
And it's all very samey.
Yes. There's no well, you can change this in to do this thing and give you more decision space. So that's where Sarah's like, well, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah. So that is like the only issue really at 2-player count is that experience might not be the most satisfying. It might feel like it overstays its welcome. But what it does well then on the flip side is you have a bigger impact on how the palace builds. So you are more kind of head to head with the other player. So like there was a point where I was able to move the monkey and I moved it into a terrible spot for Will. I mean, not great for me later, but because then it blocked me. Basically, the monkey blocks a spot. And so I put it in an immediate spot I knew Will would probably want to build too. The problem then is it took a while before it moved again because you have to build the highest decoration on that turn to be able to move the monkey. So on a later turn, it ended up blocking me. So I guess in that respect, it didn't. But anyways, so overall, though, you will have a bigger impact on the build that you're making in a 2-player count than with higher player counts. That's it, though. That's the 2-player experience.
All right, accessibility.
The rules, unfortunately, are not very clear, and they're not very detailed, and they're very small font. I found myself really squinting. I will say the paper quality was really terrible. I mean, it almost felt like relatively normal printer paper.
And it's not stapled.
And it's not stapled. I'm like, who does? I mean, I know it's only 2 sheets, but who doesn't staple their rules?
But you have 2 companies coming together here that should know better.
Yes.
Lego, we've had plenty of board games from them, and they did high quality for their instructions. Asmodee, we've had plenty of Asmodee games. They do fantastic on their instructions. They came together and they go, you know what? Let's not do instructions very well.
And let's make because then the rest of this is also kind of cheap. There's only one kind of tray for just the building pieces, but they didn't do anything to hold
The decoration.
the decoration pieces. So this whole thing feels very like Lego's like, it's not my job to do this, and Asmodee's, well, it's like not my job either. So like nobody did it.
Yeah.
And so it just it's the intern.
Yeah, the one person that was involved is like, well, I can cut costs.
Yeah.
Do you need to?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Also, when it gets to setting up the cards, all you have to go by is a picture, which is, again, small. The other problem is it never tells you to shuffle each stack, which you should, because every single card is different. They're not, well, not every card. There are some stacks that are completely the same in the whole stack.
Yeah.
But the middle grouping of there's unique cards in there that you should shuffle between games so it's not the same.
We found that out while playing it.
Yeah,
So yes, once you separate all your different decks, make sure to shuffle each deck.
yeah, that has unique cards.
Yes.
Also, just to warn people, if you don't already understand how this works, this does require a high degree of mobility because you are building with small Lego pieces. So just want to warn those who might have problems with their hands and moving things a lot. This is going to require that.
Yeah.
Let's see, anything else? Oh, yes. Speaking of the cards again, they did low contrast with the points. It's a yellow number because they're like banana points. So then we're going to do a yellow number on a white background. Yay. So definitely play in a room with bright lights.
Yes.
Okay, what it does right, though, the contrast of the 3 main colors that are important are pretty good. There's gold.
So on the base, there are light green, dark green, and gold. And where you start building from will determine what decoration you put at the top of when you're done building, because you'll build stairs every time you take a turn.
Right.
And that'll determine how many points you get to determine how much you can buy. So it's important to know those 3 different colors.
Right. So they did a really good job on the map texture. I mean, the gold is very distinct because it's kind of like a tan with gold bricks on it. The light green has like white flowers, and then the dark green's just dark green leaves and stuff. The only downside is when you get to those decorations, the light green and dark green uses the same piece. So people with severe vision issues like Will are not going to be able to tell the difference between the light green and dark green by touch because they're the same piece.
Because it's a round brick with 3 leaves coming off of it.
And it's unfortunate because they needed a round brick base, so that's why they did a round gold brick and then the 2 ones with the 3 leaves. It would have been nice if they had found some other piece, but I can't think of one.
There's the round brick flower. It's like a large flower with little, what looks like a little clown collar off the top.
Can you put a piece on top of it?
Yes, you can.
Okay, then that would have been the other choice. I can only imagine they just wanted to keep the piece types down. I don't know.
Yeah.
The color of the building pieces doesn't matter. So for whatever reason, they decided to, I guess, to make it look more varied. There's 4 different colors of the actual building pieces. The 1x1 brick, the column, and then the arches. But it doesn't matter. They're just there for looks to be different. It doesn't matter. But speaking of touch, because everything it's Lego, it has strong clutch power. Will can touch it all to see it.
Yes. Most abstract games that involve 3-dimensional pieces I can't play because they don't stick together in any way. So as soon as I touch it, I'm
It falls
starting to knock,
apart.
and then you has to rebuild it, and like, okay, it has to be like this, like that, and don't touch
Yeah.
it, but I need to touch it to figure out where I really want to put pieces.
Right.
This I can do because of the clutch power.
Yep. Lego has really good clutch power.
Yeah.
All right. Otherwise, it's all open information. So if you are having issues with anything, hopefully someone else at the table can help.
Yes.
Conclusion.
For 2 players, would you recommend?
Not really. I don't think it's best.
Yeah, the game overstays its welcome. One solve for this is figure out how many pieces there are and start cutting the number of pieces that are available, put some away or put some aside,
Yeah.
and then you can shorten the game for yourself.
You'll have lower scores, but it might be a more satisfying experience.
Yes, just for the 2 players specifically.
Yes.
Accessibility.
It's pretty good. I think the toughest part is the rules, which unfortunately there are some complicated concepts in
Yeah.
here.
Especially, what is a valid way to build a stair? Because when I initially heard, it's like, oh, I need to make sure the next arch is immediately on top of the last arch, and Sarah's like, no, you don't even have to start that way. You can actually start elevated
Yep.
with your first arch.
Yep.
I'm like, you can?
Any, yeah, I know, mind blown.
blown.
Yeah, you can start with any brick, any of the building pieces.
Yes.
You just, yeah. So
But
that's
you
it.
have to make sure that the next arch you put is higher than the previous one and connected in some way
Right.
to the previous arches,
Yeah.
one of their 2 studs.
Exactly.
And you can't overlap. Like I
Yeah,
said, there's just a whole bunch
There's
of
a lot of nuances.
yeah that you need to make sure of that a gamer would probably have a good time or easy time with understanding, but a casual family, there might be some
Especially
tripping.
a Lego family coming at this to learn might trip and have some trouble with this.
Right.
With the rules.
All right. And that'll do it for us, Sarah.
Yes.
We didn't actually talk about how the end palace looked. How did you feel about it?
It was interesting.
All wampusy and with all the little arches everywhere.
I thought it was interesting. And it definitely kind of really reinforced the abstractness of the game. As much as they tried to do a theme, I mean, you've only got 3 main piece types: bricks, columns, arches, and then you have 3 decorative pieces, which are basically just 1 by 1 round bricks, 2 of them having leaves sticking off, and you have a monkey around, and then there might be a butterfly or frog if you play with those little components. But otherwise, yeah, it's just really tall columns.
Yeah,
of things.
it was an intersection between a palace and a jungle gym.
Yeah.
In fact, I would have thought it would have been more fun if it was themed around the monkey jungle gym bars.
Yeah.
And basically you're creating the most abstract looking jungle gym in a playground
Yeah.
and you could still do monkey theme on it
Yep.
because they are the monkey bars.
It's true. Agreed.
But yeah, it was a weird abstract piece of art when we were done.
Yep.
All right, and why would you ever roll with just one when you can be
Rolling with 2.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.